Peace, everyone. Welcome to Masters of Ceremony. This is your host, Andrew Ascari-Poor, also known as Fifth God. This week's episode was probably the funnest one I've had the pleasure of recording to date, and that is because I got to sit down with a childhood friend of mine, Annie Trezza. Annie Trezza is a singer-songwriter, surfer, traveler, and amazing performer. As you guys will see, she gets to share some of her songs with us on this podcast live, which was really awesome to experience something different that I've never done on this podcast before, but hope to do a lot more of in the future. Annie is someone who is so interesting to me because she is this amazing singer and songwriter, but also really deeply embedded into the surf culture of Montauk, New York, which is on the East End here in Long Island. It was really cool to get to record this podcast in the back of her van out in Montauk by the water. That was something that I really enjoyed to do, and something I look forward to doing more on this podcast is taking my cameras and my equipment with me to other places and recording episodes in the settings that some of these guests are most comfortable in. So as you will hear in this episode, we discuss Annie's initial love for music, her influences that led her to really love music of past generations, not only current pop music, but music of the 60s and the 70s, and the inspiration she had as a young woman growing up wanting to begin writing some of her own songs and become a performer. And she is an incredible performer. You will get to hear some of her songs shortly, but it was really a pleasure to get to discuss her love for Montauk, for surfing, for the ocean, and for nature in general. She really has such a beautiful relationship to the element of water, and it has been a real honor to get to know her. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I think there's a lot that many people will get to really learn about and hear about. I think she's a character who has a unique perspective and unique story to share. So I really hope you guys enjoy the show. Tune in after today's episode if you want to learn more about Annie Trezza, her music, where you could find her, etc., and also how you can continue to support this podcast. I'm sure all of you already know, but leaving a review, a comment, simply sharing with a friend, all of these things really help us to grow this new platform. And for those who are interested, I'm still doing the sweepstakes that I've been offering the past couple other episodes as well. I'm giving away one free limited edition vinyl of my debut album as a record producer, The Fifth Tape. Tune in after the show to learn more about how to enter this contest. Enjoy the show, everyone. Peace. Annie Trezza, welcome to Masters of Ceremony.
Oh boy, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. This is one of the best things about starting this podcast is being able to document wonderful conversations with people who are considered dear friends of mine. Yeah,
well, I'd say we're pretty dear friends.
Yeah, for sure. Grew up in the same town, and both Long Islanders, and both are into many of the same things. So yeah, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Very excited.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Annie is just an awesome, extremely talented musician. She is a rad surfer. She is a lover of the ocean.
This is true.
An amazing performer.
Oh boy.
And before we get into everything that you're into, I would love for you just to paint us a picture a bit about your early upbringing and maybe some of your earliest memories relating to music and the guitar, which you have such a close relationship with.
Oh boy, well, that is, let's see. I feel like I've always been pretty much obsessed with music. I feel like I was always I remember just being in the car, and back then it was cassette tapes, and my dad had all the Beatles and Beach Boys and stuff like that, and I just remember every time I get in the car, the first thing I gotta do is turn on the radio, and I still do that. It's all about what song is on.
Yeah.
But yeah. I feel like love for music, I would say probably actually, started I remember being 5, 6 and listening to Beatles tapes, Beatles CDs, mostly. There was like the Beatles 1 CD that I was pretty listened to a lot, but I feel like they definitely influenced a lot of my love for music. But my dad is actually a piano player. He's a very good pianist and organist. And I actually grew up in church. I went to church for a long time, so I would say that that's actually probably was a big part of the early introduction to music, because my dad was in the church band my whole life. So was my older brother. So I was exposed to that, and just hearing my dad play in the house and just having a love for it. And I took piano lessons from like age 7 to 12. I would never found a teacher I was too keen on, so I stopped taking lessons when I was 12, because I always wanted to play guitar. I was really I also would say that one of my big influences is Avril Lavigne. When I was 10 years old, I was pretty obsessed, and that probably really inspired me. I just really wanted to play guitar. And I got a guitar when I was like 10, but I didn't really start taking it seriously till I was about 15. I got like an electric guitar for Christmas, and then I got an acoustic, and I had these like teachers in high school after school, and I would just learn Beatles and Bob Dylan songs, and they taught me a lot. And it was kind of just like our own little after school program. And I feel like that was a lot for as far as like learning guitar. And then I was always writing in books. I've been carrying journals around since I was as long as I can remember, and I knew songwriting was something that I really wanted to do. So that was a ramble. But.
No, perfectly said. And I mean, you're someone who I never see without a journal. Or some type of doodle book or something.
Yeah, they're always around, within reach.
I'm super curious though, as a youth and as a teenager, what attracted you to music of past generations like the Beatles and music of the 60s? And, because growing up where we grew up and just in our age group, a lot of times people just gravitate towards pop music or what's out at the time. But you're like a historian to me when it comes to older music, especially from like the 60s and the 70s. So what even attracted you to that kind of music?
Well, probably my parents, I guess I would say. Like I said, like my dad, also too, the church, we weren't really allowed to listen to worldly music.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how was the church an influence on you as well? Because the type of music you make now and listen to is very different than gospel music or something.
Yeah, well, I do actually like gospel music a lot, but I mean, I guess it was just, I guess I didn't really, my parents didn't buy me, what was it? I don't even know. NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. All my friends were like, you don't know these songs? And I'm like, no, I never listened to that stuff, because there I was with Beatles tapes. And I guess it was because of my parents, because that was what was in the car.
Yeah.
Like my dad, literally, I could think of pretty much every Beatles album. But my dad would always skip the George Harrison songs because he didn't like the sitar and the other stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's a little too Eastern for him.
But no, it was definitely my parents. Like my dad, it was definitely like the Beatles and the Beach Boys and like the Mamas and the Papas and all like the 60s stuff like that. Which, I wasn't allowed to listen to worldly music, but I was allowed to listen to that stuff. And I mean, he would just buy that stuff for me. And then I would always hear it in the car. And then like my mom, then she had like Joni Mitchell and Led Zeppelin. And my mom, I would always get CDs and stuff for Christmas. And I remember one Christmas I got a couple CDs, and there was Beatles. There was a couple church-related things. And then there was Beach Boys, and then there was a Bob Dylan CD. It was the Essential Bob Dylan, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And I put it on, and the first song was Lay Lady Lay, and I was just hooked. So I was 10 years old for that one. So my mom definitely turned me on to Bob Dylan, which is another huge influence.
Yeah, huge influence for you,
so I guess
for sure.
My parents probably, and I just like it. I like it so much better.
Yeah, of course. You were just instantly attracted to it.
Yeah.
Wow,
definitely.
So you said you didn't get serious until you were about like 15 years old playing guitar, and just realizing that this was something that wasn't just a regular hobby. What made you actually say to yourself that this is something that I want to actually attempt to do with my life? I want to start playing live gigs. I want to start writing songs of my own and sharing them with others.
Well, let's see. I do remember the exact moment that I was like, you know what? I think I want to write songs. I was laying in bed feeling my first little bit of heartache, I think I was like 15, And I was listening to Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, which is probably one of the best songs ever written, Bob Dylan's song. And I remember it was just like a certain verse just like hit my soul so much. And I was like, I want to write music. I want to write my own songs because I was feeling a lot. And that's how you get your feelings out. At least for me, it's like, it's such a form of therapy. And I feel like, yeah, I guess it was like once I learned a couple chords, then it would just like try to write words to go with them.
Yeah.
I didn't sing until I was like 19 or something in front of people. Like once I started writing songs, I was like, well, I have to sing in front of people. But I never thought I was a singer. Like
but you were singing by yourself before this.
I would sing in my room or like with like the doors closed, but I wouldn't even sing if like my mom was home. And this was like through high school because like I said, I guess it was 10th grade that I started really playing guitar, but I would just play guitar. Like I wouldn't sing. The first time I think I got on like a stage in front of people, aside from my friend's Sweet 16 birthday party where I played 3 songs, I played guitar and my friend sang. I did the school play or the school thing and when I was a senior, and I think we did like Hallelujah. That's that song Hallelujah, and I played guitar, and that was like the first time I was in front of people. But even then I like still didn't sing. I just played guitar. And then I went away to art school, and instead of doing my painting homework, I was in my room writing songs. So I've decided that maybe music was a better route for me. I think that summer I came out here, and there was a local restaurant in town, and I just was like, I'm going to just ask if I could play a gig.
Yeah.
And I, again, had never sang in front of people other than like a couple friends at this point. And I went in, and I was like, what do you have to do to play music here? The guy's like, just play music. And I was like, okay. Well, he's like, you want to play 2 weeks from today? And I said, sure.
Wow.
So, at this point I had already known like a bunch of songs because I was always like learning, Beatles and Bob Dylan and whatever I wanted to sing. And then I played a gig one Friday afternoon at the Gig Shack in town here in Montauk, and it went well, and they had me back then for the rest of the summer, and it's just been going on ever since.
Wow,
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, for those who don't know where out here is, we're actually recording this in Montauk, Long Island, in New York currently, where Annie is an official and well-recognized native and local.
Well, technically I'm not native. I wasn't born here, but I've lived here for the better half of my life, and it is surely home. So.
Yes, it is your home.
It
you
is my
are
home.
a local. Everyone knows you here, and it is such a pleasure for me to be spending time out here in Montauk once again. It's been a couple of months for me.
We've had plenty of good times here.
Yeah, you have really welcomed me here, although I am such a huge representative of all things Long Island.
Yeah.
It wasn't until me and you started hanging where I really started to spend time out here in Montauk. So we're going to circle back to a lot of the music things, but since we're on the topic of just spending time in this magical place of Montauk, I think, when people think of New Yorkers, they rarely think of surfers and like groovy vibes. But Montauk totally is like, contrary to that notion, it's like full of surfers, full of laid back, people just playing music and having beach fires. And you're definitely a part of that scene. What was it that really attracted you to Montauk and allowed you to start spending time out here? Because I don't know if you started living out here during high school or after high school or what.
Well, it's my mom. I was always, going to the beach because I was always a little beach rat. We used to go to like West Hampton a lot. And then I lived so close to Smith's Point, and I surfed there a lot when I was younger. And then when I was like 12, we really started coming out here a lot. It was like the weekends, my mom and my little brother and I, and we would just like be at the beach all day, and then we would just set up a tent like right down the street from here. Back then there was really no rules, and so we would camp out here on the weekends. And I remember we would get back late Sunday night, and I would go back to school, and this was in like 8th grade. But like once we started coming out here, like I don't think I ever went back to like Cupsog or anything like that, because it's just it's a lot more magical out here, and the waves are just a lot more consistent and better. But my mom, she made the move out here when I was like 15 or 16. I was a junior in high school, so my mom moved out here like the middle of my junior year. And so then I would still just come out on the weekends or whenever I didn't have school. And then I stayed in Bellport for my senior year because I didn't want to switch schools with 1 year left. But I would be out here, and I would like take the train, the 5:39 a.m. train on Monday mornings, get off and walk to school. But yeah, it was definitely my mom, because she, I guess, always had a love for here. And then she moved out here and I followed.
Yeah, wow. And did your love for the ocean and for surfing, did it start from coming out here, or was it there even before you moved out to Montauk?
No, it's definitely always been there. And that's as well as something that comes from my mom, because she's a water person too. Like, my mom surfs, and she grew up around boats and the water and things like that. So pretty much everything I learned from her. But I was saying before, like, I was always like boogie boarding and just always in the water. Like, going to the beach was the highlight of summer. Yeah. If it was 1 or 2 days a week at that point in time, because like I was young and whatever. But yeah, it was always my favorite thing. Like, I've always loved it. And I would want to stay all day. Like, with my mom, we would get there early and stay till sunset. It's still what I do. I spend more time next to the ocean than I do at home. That's for sure.
Of course. I think almost any time we get on the phone, you're either watching the waves, or you're about to get in, or you just got out.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, I think it's in my blood. It's always been there. Yeah. That's for sure.
For those who have only heard about and haven't had the fortune of spending time out here in Montauk, how would you describe it for people? Because I think Montauk is obviously one of the like meccas within the nation for surfing, or at least a hotspot for surfing within all of the country. People hear Montauk and they think of surfing, but I also feel like, being from Long Island, there's a lot of misconceptions about this place, and you have a lot of outside people coming here for the summertime and just visiting. But how would you describe Montauk, just in a nutshell, for you, and some of the things you like most about it?
Well, it's definitely a surf town and a fisherman town for sure. It has changed a lot, even in the time that I've been here. I imagine it was even more mellow before we arrived, but we kind of got here before it really started to switch, because it has definitely become a very trendy hotspot for the wealthier folk and the city people.
Yeah.
But how would I describe it? It's the most magical place in the world. What I said to my neighbor this morning was, like, if you really live here and you really know the people and the cast of characters that really call this place home, it's just, it's like something out of a movie. It's super magical all year long. And I described it to my neighbor this morning. I said, it's kind of like a combination of Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan, Neverland, to be honest.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
there's definitely some wild and interesting characters out here. That's one of the biggest things about Montauk that I find personally, is that there are just some really unique people out here with some amazing stories.
Artists, like a lot of artists that spent time out here forever. Yeah. And it's definitely like, there's a lot of creative energy. Like, for me, I feel so lucky to call this place home, because I'm constantly inspired. And also, it's the furthest point east on Long Island. And I don't know if the furthest place on the East Coast, but we're sticking out in the ocean, surrounded by water. Yeah. Like, almost, you can be to the water in a few minutes from wherever you are. Yeah, and that for me is like, I need that. And now that I know what it's like to live within walking distance to the surf, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. I think just the creative energy that is out here in Montauk is so appealing for artists of all types, even historically, painters coming out here and spending time, and musicians. And I think for you, someone who loves surf, having a location where you can catch some waves and also play some live gigs and write music on the beach is like perfect for an artist like you, So speaking of waves, you are such a passionate surfer. I feel like surfing is as much a part of your life as music is. Yes. And I actually feel like they connect with one another in many ways for your life. They're like two different bridges that bring you to the same state of peace.
That's a great way to describe it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Wow.
Well, I think, from you, it's like I see a difference after you surf, or like when you're about to go surf. Like,
definitely.
Like, you just got a dose of medicine after coming out.
That's totally true. That's what it is. It's like, it's like so, I don't say meditative. Is that the right word? Yeah, completely. It's pretty much the most meditative thing that I can do, but it's certainly a form of therapy. It's a great a form of therapy. It clears the mind and definitely keeps one sane. But the surfing and music are definitely connected. They're both my creative outlets and the things that I'm most passionate about in life.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
And I feel like, especially out here, at least if you're like a local and you call this place home, there's definitely a deep sense of family within the surfing community. For the most part, like you go out with your board, you see a bunch of other people, you know everybody, and you guys are just hanging out, having a great time. And your mom is out there as well sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is awesome. Shout out to Bethy.
Shout out Bethy for everything, really.
Yeah, for sure. Such a great woman. But, I want to know just, someone who is not even a good swimmer, someone who definitely has not spent any time on a surfboard. I would love to just hear about what that feeling is, just being out in the ocean and riding a wave. I think there's so many listeners out there who have never experienced it, but surfing is always something that people think would be so cool to do. I would love you to articulate just the feeling.
Oh, man, I don't even know if I could put it into words because it's just the greatest feeling ever. I mean, you're connecting with the ocean, which is the most powerful thing on this planet. I mean, water takes up more the earth than land does, but there's definitely no cooler feeling than riding a wave because it's like this element that's like changing even as you're riding it, and it's so unpredictable. But I think that like I don't even know how to describe it other than that it's the greatest feeling in the world. I don't know, it just brings you so much happiness, and just there's just nothing groovier to be honest. But and it's like I've been surfing now since I was 10. So I guess it's like, it's been like a long time, over 15 years. But
you always say you don't consider yourself as good, but I think you're pretty good.
Well, I mean, growing up here where we have winters, I didn't really surf year round until I was probably like 17 or 18. So I guess then I would say more like 10 years, but that I've been surfing, but like super consistently.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, I'm just like obsessed with the ocean.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So
it seems like, not to cut you off, it seems like it's a form of deep spiritual nourishment for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's like there's just like no greater feeling than paddling out and being able to catch waves and connect with something so beautiful and powerful and inspiring.
Yeah.
I feel like I could think of better ways to word this, but right now this is what's coming to mind.
Yeah. Well, maybe now would be a good time to share one of your songs that maybe I don't know, it can do with surfing or it can do with Montauk or anything you're feeling in this moment. I mean, we're sitting in the beautiful sun out here in Montauk right now.
Surrounded by water.
Yeah, surrounded by water completely.
Actually, it's very blue around us. It's not so blue here in Big Bob, but it's pretty blue in here.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I mean, for those who are not watching the video version, we are recording this in the back of Annie's basically mobile home.
1993 Volkswagen Eurovan.
Yes.
Well, what song do I feel like playing in this moment that I could say is connected to surfing? I have a couple, because actually that's like another thing is surfing helps a lot with creativity. Well, it is a form of creativity. Like there's times when if I have like mental blocks or something with writing, I'll just put a lot of my energy into surfing.
Yeah, of course.
So I actually write a lot of lyrics when I'm out in the water.
Do you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, wow. I had to get out today because I had to write something down.
Oh, that's so cool.
But this song that I think I want to play is I actually wrote it while I was out in the water. These words came to mind. I was actually surfing down in Charleston, South Carolina, and there's no one else around, and it was like an unfamiliar kind of murky waters, and I was like, oh man, I'm the only one out here. And then this line just came into my head, and it was just like, I don't want to be the only fool lost at sea. And then I just, from there, like, this song was birthed, and it's called Heartbreak Sailor. And I wrote it while surfing. Shall I play it?
Please, please.
It's also a song about just feeling free and letting go of things. Sea. Heartbreak Sailor.
Wow, one of my absolute favorites. I think it is my favorite song of yours. And
Maybe that's why I really wanted to play it.
yeah, I think so. And especially the first time I ever heard that song was after a pretty killer full moon ceremony on the beach.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. Wow.
I remember that night like it was yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
The moon was bright as.
Yeah, a night I'll never forget. But for me, the emotions that song help arise within my heart is just the power of transmuting pain or heartbreak through creative outlets such as music. And it's that song really touched my heart strongly the first time I heard it, and every time I hear it now, just because I can really feel the space you were in when you first wrote it. It really shines
through.
It's
cool that you say that, because I feel like that's true. Every time I play it, I'm like teleported back to when I wrote it.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I think that's something that's a thread that runs through all of your music.
Yeah, any song really that I wrote, I would say takes me back to when the pain, the feelings that you feel. And like when I sing them, I think that's why I always sing with my eyes closed, because I'm literally just like feeling how I was feeling when I wrote that song. Yeah. Actually.
Wow, I would love to delve deeper into your writing process, because you are such a fantastic writer.
Oh boy.
Those who are listening need to go listen to the music you have that is publicly available to hear it for themselves. But, is it just like you're surfing and a line comes to you and you hop out and you write, or are you at home and you're listening to some other inspirational music and lines come to you? Or how do you craft these such heartfelt songs?
I don't know if it's like the same process every time. And it changes like with different chapters of life, or whatever I'm going through. But I mean, it's definitely always been easiest to write about heartbreak. But like I said, I constantly am writing in journals, and like sometimes a lot of times I'm like writing about my days or whatever. But then like if I have like, sometimes a line will come into my mind and then I'll like write it down, and then like it'll turn into like a poem or something. But a lot of times, like most of the songs that I've like wrote, I feel like I'll just like sit down and I won't even say like, I'm going to write a song right now, because that's never really worked for me, because I feel like you can't force these things. Yeah. And I've always felt that. And there's been times where like I have writer's block and I get so hard on myself. But like, anyway, like most of the songs that I wrote that I consider to be good ones are I just kind of sat down and started playing a chord progression, and then some words will come to mind, and then I'll just like, luckily we have iPhones that have voice recorder, and I'll just be like, I need to press record, and then I'll just like kind of improvise. But like a lot of times, the music and the words come out at the same time, but it's usually times where I'm feeling a lot. And I think that's when I write the most. Yeah.
I think that's so important, not to feel the necessity to write just because you haven't written in a long time. I feel like a lot of people do that, like, oh, I haven't written a song in so long. Let me sit down and try to make something great. But as you know, for any artist, usually not the most heartfelt and personal music is made that way. It just needs to come out naturally.
Yeah. Like, I have this one song, and the first line is, the best songs come without thinking. And that's how I feel. Yeah. Just writing based on feeling. Yeah, not really overthinking it too much, because then I usually just give myself a headache. Yeah,
completely. I started to get back into writing some poetry of my own, which used to be like a deep inspiration of mine and practice of mine back in my teenage years, and actually always throughout my life. I've just never shared it with much people. A few people here and there.
You're a great writer, one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you, Eddie. So I was just meditating one morning a couple weeks ago, and this beautiful poem just started with one line, as most creative works do, and it just flowed out of me, and it was something I was and am really proud of. And I was so excited about me writing this poem. Like a couple days later, I was like, I want to sit down and write another great poem. And I went down to go write one, and just nothing came. And for actually like a couple weeks after that, nothing as good came. And it was another reminder and lesson to me that you just have to wait for the the spirit of the piece of work to flow through you.
Yeah.
And you can't force it.
Yeah, that's how I feel, for sure.
And I feel like having practices like surfing or just writing or some type of spiritual nourishment is what puts you back into a state of allowing you to tap in with that spirit. Yeah. Yeah. For you, you are someone, which I think is rare sometimes as well, who is such a fantastic writer, but also such a fantastic performer. And you have a lot of live gigs during the summertime here. And even when you travel, you find gigs, which I've always thought was so cool. Whether you're in Nicaragua or Puerto Rico or something. Mexico. Like, I always see you posting like, oh, I'm playing here tonight. I'm like, how'd she get to Mexico 3 days ago and already has a gig?
Well, I try to do that because I feel like playing. It's cool to play wherever you go. Yeah. But I love performing. I think it's probably like one of my favorite parts about being a musician, honestly. People are like, you don't get nervous? I don't think I don't really get nervous. Like, wow. I feel like, I don't know what it is, but like, I just feel like when I'm on stage and like, I just feel like I'm in such a comfort zone. And it's like, kind of like, it's like what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, the more people in the room, the better. Cause it's like more energy to feed off of. And it's like, it's the coolest feeling when like you're playing your own songs and people are singing along, and it just I don't know, like there's no, like for me there's no greater high than like the feeling of when I get off the stage. Yeah. Aside from maybe an epic surf session, but I definitely love performing, and I feel like I didn't even realize like I've been doing it for like I guess like 10 years now, and it's like. There's been a lot of like growth, I would say, and I feel like I'm in a good place right now, and I didn't even think I would ever get here, so it feels cool.
Yeah, you definitely seem always comfortable, and the term you used, at home, is proper. When you're on stage, it looks like Annie Trezza is at home, and you guys are just getting a little blessing to have a glimpse to hear some of her songs. So,
oh boy,
I really look forward to seeing you live again when things kind of get back to opening up piece by piece.
Definitely been missing that for sure.
Yeah. You've been doing your Instagram lives every Wednesday though, which I think
Groovy Wednesday.
Yeah, Groovy Wednesdays. I think for me it's been such a moment of the week that's inspiring to me because despite these times of being locked down and quarantined, you've been like being resilient and finding a way to take the live gig to your bedroom and to Instagram.
It's definitely been an interesting experience. I remember like when I first started it, I was like, the first one I did, I was like, this is just an experiment because like I had no other option, and it went really well. And like it's kind of cool because people from all over, like friends from all over the world and the country have been able to tune in, and even friends who like never really get to see me play. Yeah. And it's like actually like, I mean, it's kind of weird because you're like talking to a phone screen, but like I'm at home, like I'm sitting on my piano bench, which is like where I spend most of my time. And it's like, I just feel like it feels so natural actually. Yeah. It's kind of cool. But I definitely miss being on the stage and having weekly gigs and
of course
things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a specific memory of a gig that that really sticks out to you, that you felt like you really tapped into a different state on stage? Do you have anything that sticks out to you? I'm curious because you're someone who's performed so much.
Well, I've been performing solo pretty much since I started. There was a couple friends here and there where we had like, you know, different things going on, like just summer gigs, but it's always been like a huge goal of mine to play with a band and to have a band like, you know, playing my, like backing up on my original songs and things like that. And I would say that every gig is pretty magical, especially like, you know, I play a lot out by the ocean here and things like that. But probably the first Talk House gig, which was like, I would say that was a really, for me, that was a really like, I don't know, it's just like a defining moment for my musical career.
Yeah, a lot of people were there that night.
Well, it was just that, like, because like the Talk House is like is the venue out here, and it's like probably one of the only real venues on the East End, and it's very, famous because a lot of people have played there, and it's always been a goal of mine to play there, but I knew it would have to be like with a band. And the band pieced together, the couple local guys out here, and then my friend who like produced my EP. But I was so nervous leading up to it. Like, I know I said before that I never get nervous, but this one I was so nervous because I'd like hopped on with friends' bands before and done like, you know, a couple songs here and there. But this was like, I was now like sharing all the songs that I have poured so much into and having a band, which just added all this extra energy. And it's like, I like playing gigs by myself. I could do like so easily, but like playing with a band, it's like you're now connecting with other people on a stage. So that's like more energy. But yeah, I remember being so nervous. I couldn't sleep for like weeks.
Wow.
And yeah, no, it was weird. It was like it was like my first like real band gig. So I remember like leading up to it, I was like, yeah, pretty nervous. And then we practiced and like last minute kind of practiced with the drummer like the night before. So then that made me extra nervous because I had a drummer switch last minute.
Yeah.
But then I remember as soon as I stepped out on stage and actually opened the set with Heartbreak Sailor.
Yes, I remember.
Which was kind of cool because I would start that song by myself and then like I would sing the first verse by myself and then the band would come in and I had Jack, he plays lead guitar, was playing violin. And as soon as like I stepped on stage and like I saw like the room was pretty full and there was a lot of family and friends who had never seen me play before.
Yeah.
As soon as I started strumming that guitar, actually as soon as I stepped out onto the stage, I was like, yeah, this feels good. And then it was just like the set just flowed and yeah, and afterwards it was just like a lot of I don't know, I just felt really good, really high. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but that was definitely a huge point, I would say, for me. Because after that, then it was just like I started playing with the band like all the time. Yeah. And then I don't get nervous at all because it just feels like right.
Yeah, that was such an awesome night. Yeah, I remember when you played Pitted that night.
Yeah, that's always a highlight.
It was a big highlight of the night. Speaking of Pitted, a song about surfing.
Yes.
Can you share maybe like a couple or one like crazy surf story of yours? You shared a couple with me, but do you have any like moments where you were really on the edge or moments that were really like, shit, I'm possibly in some danger? Because being in Montauk, I've heard all kinds of stories, but I would love to hear maybe one from you.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of them, but I mean the danger moments. I have a good bit of those. I can't off the top of my head. I can't really think of one from home.
All right, even if you were traveling.
Yeah, no, I think. I definitely got my shit rocked in El Salvador last year. one day, for sure. I lived in Nicaragua for like 6 months, and there was one day where I think this might be appropriate for our Masters of Ceremony.
Please.
I was high as hell on mushrooms, and now the waves in Nicaragua are powerful. It's like this beach break, like hollow waves, which like I like it, but I like point breaks. I like a more groovier thing than I can handle. But we pulled up to the beach and I was really feeling it. I actually had to take a walk and listen to Abbey Road to kind of calm down. But then I finally I paddled out and it was like at least 6 foot, like 6 to 8 foot. And as soon as I got out there, I was like, what am I doing out here? But like every time I took a wave to the head, I was just cracking up underwater, like laughing so hard because it was like, it's the most humbling experience, really, when you're kind of like on another wave and like you're getting smashed with waves.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe this wasn't the best story, but it's so perfect. Clear in my mind because like, I surf on mushrooms a lot and it's amazing. It's like, it's like, especially when the sun is setting and it's just like, then you just, I don't know, it's just like pretty much it makes it even more magical than it already is.
It sounds like a ceremony to me.
but no, that day, and I stayed out till it got dark and I think I probably caught like 3 actual good waves, but like I definitely ate it a lot.
Wow.
But it was like, yeah.
I think what I love most about that story is what you mentioned, a parallel I've seen between surfing and, ceremonies, which is something I'm really into, plant medicine ceremonies, is being humbled by just a force of nature like the ocean. It reminds me of being in the sweat lodge where for those who don't know, sweat lodge is a tradition where you're basically in a hut, for lack of a better word, where there's a bunch of hot rocks in the center and water's being poured on them and songs and prayers are being sang. And it's very hot, very steamy. And it is the ultimate practice of humility because you have to, if it gets too hot, you're supposed to put your head down to the floor because it's cooler there. And I see the same thing in surfing. If a big wave is coming, you got to duck under it and go into it. And it's a constant practice of humility. So I could only imagine being on mushrooms in El Salvador with some big ass waves and having to understand that, you got to be humble in those moments.
All I can do is just laugh and be like, yep, I'm getting rocked, but this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you never know, the ocean's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You got to kind of be ready for anything.
Of course. Well, speaking about groovy vibes, I would love for you to maybe share a song relating to surfing as well. I mean, it seems like all your songs kind of circle back to surfing in some way or another.
They do. There's a lot of like ocean-inspired lyrics, I would say. I mean, would you like to hear a song that is specifically about surfing? Because I have one of those.
If it's totally up to you. I don't know. Maybe
kind of over that song.
Yeah.
But
I think,
but it will be.
Maybe I don't know. No, play.
Oh, hi, bud.
Oh, wow, little dog. Play whatever is coming to you now. It does not need to be a song exactly about surfing, but
all right.
Yeah, or maybe something that came to you during your travels. I'm super interested in all of your travels where you surf in El Salvador, or Nicaragua, or Mexico. Maybe a song you wrote during your travels if you could remember one. If not, no pressure.
You know what's funny is I have a lot of songs that I wrote when I was living in Charleston or spending time down there.
Yeah. You can share one of those.
But I don't even think that I don't even know if I have it. I definitely have some Mexico songs somewhere in me, but I'm like a little...
I would love for you to share whatever song is coming to you in this moment. I'm sure we would all enjoy it regardless.
Oh boy, all right. Actually, what am I in the mood for right now? Oh boy, I should have thought about this. I actually wouldn't mind playing this one. This song connects to the ocean for sure, and the seasons and living in Montauk, definitely. Perfect. It's called Falling Out of August, and September is one of my favorite months of the year.
Likewise.
So, yeah, I think this one's actually been in my head since the morning, so I'm gonna play it. You can call me soon. Haven't stopped thinking about you since June. Now the fall is at our feet, and September air, it tastes so sweet.
perfect song to play as the sun is setting.
This is true. The sun is setting right on us, it seems.
Yes. Wow. You have such a such an open voice to me. I feel like it flows without hesitation. And as a musician, I'm curious if you have any advice for any up and coming or beginner artists who are just starting their path of singing, playing guitar, playing piano, anything relating to music. If you have any advice to any musician who maybe struggles with opening up their voice.
I think, I feel like a couple people have said this to me, but what I think is, I think you just gotta stay true to yourself, honestly. Don't try to be someone else or sound like someone else or, do what makes you feel good. Like I don't even like singing. I feel like I don't even really know how to sing. I just do it. I don't know, but
It's natural.
yeah, I would say, because I remember there was a time where I actually asked someone, I was like, I need voice lessons. And they were like, no, you don't. Because if you take voice lessons, someone's going to try to have you sing like them. And you've already got something going on. And just keep doing what you're doing.
Wow, beautiful. I think being authentic is having a voice.
Authenticity.
Yeah. Wow, that's so important. Beautiful advice. To wrap up, I've been asking a couple of the other guests some of the same questions. Who are some people right now who are inspiring you that you go to daily for some inspiration? It could be artists, painters, influencers of all sorts. Who are some people you'd like to shout out right now? Dead or alive?
Dead or alive. Well, I've been really listening to a lot of Mac Miller, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And which I never really listened to a lot of hip hop stuff. I mean, there's some, but I feel like I've been listening to him a lot, and I feel like his music's probably been influencing a lot of my writing without even noticing. But mainly his last 2 albums for sure. I listen to a lot. I'm always listening to the Beatles and Bob, of course, but I think those are probably the 3 right now that I'm listening to, and I'm always constantly inspired by friends like you. I have a couple of pals where sometimes we'll just text each other, and I feel like when we text each other, it's I just send them something that ends up being song lyrics or their responses and things like that will inspire me. But I definitely feel like a lot of my friends and family are huge influences for me, for sure. Anyone who's doing what they're doing, creatively and things like that is always inspiring to me.
Beautiful. What is something, I mean, I may know the answer to this, but what is something you do every day that you would consider ceremonial?
Staring at the ocean. It's a huge part of my days every day, for sure, all year long.
Yeah.
That's meditating for me.
And just to divert real quick from the last question, you're someone who never ceases to express their love for rainy days and cloudy days.
Yes.
What is it about rainy days and cloudy days that you love so much?
Well, I love the sound of rain, honestly. But I feel like it's because if it's sunny like this, I feel like I need to be outside and I need to be doing something. I need to be in the water. But when it's raining, I just feel like a lot of times I'll just sit in here in the van and listen to the rain hitting the roof. And I don't know why I've always found the sound of rain to just be so healing and inspiring. And it just for some reason I just feel like I write a lot more for some reason. But for some reason I just feel like I could be more creative sometimes when it's rainy.
Likewise.
Yeah. They inspire me. And it's you don't have to move fast. There's no sunlight to rush out for.
Yeah, it can be a very introspective day.
Yes.
And inward looking day for yourself.
Totally.
Okay, lastly, what is something in your life right now that you are trying to master?
Trying to master? What do you mean?
Something that, maybe for a different way of describing it would be something that you're really trying to embody to the fullest, something that you really are giving your all to.
I mean, oh boy, why do I find that question to be so tricky? I mean, I definitely feel like I'm just putting a lot of energy into music, trying to do that. And then just kind of for my own personal self, just staying as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
I think, because I, can get distracted at times and can have a lack of self-control. So I'm just trying to stay focused and just keep doing things that make me feel good and stay surrounded with people that lift up your spirits.
Of
things
course.
like that. And
the pursuit of attempting to master one's own health is
yeah, I would
it's
say
a deep
that,
one.
Yeah, that could be it. And
Health across all spectrums.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh boy.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Annie, for coming on Masters of Ceremony.
Thank you.
It really is such a pleasure to have such a close friend on this podcast, and to me, it means more than having the biggest musician or idol of mine I could think of. It means just as much to me to have a really close homie on the show. So.
Oh boy, well, I'm glad that you would have me on here and I could be a
course.
part of it because you mean a lot to me too.
Of course, I'm super grateful for our friendship and relationship, more than words can describe.
Same.
To send us out, would you love to maybe play maybe your favorite song of one of your inspirations? Maybe someone you named earlier, or a cover, one of your favorite covers. I think that would be really cool to hear. I know you have so many you can choose from.
Yeah. Oh boy. From an influence, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Probably have to be a Beatles song. To be honest,
that's very fitting in what I was expecting. Probably.
Or I've been listening to. I don't know. I think Bob could be a safe option.
Mm-hmm. I knew it would be one of those too.
Okay, I'm gonna try this one. I think this is a Bob Dylan song. It's called "Mama, You've Been on My Mind." It's been one of my favorite songs as of recent. That's cool. It's the color of the sun-cut flight and covering the crossroads I'm standing at. Or maybe it's the weather or something like that. Mama, you've been on my mind. Say words like yes or no. Please understand me. I have no place I'm calling you to go. I'm just breathing to myself, pretending now that I don't know. Mama, you just own my mind. might have missed a word or two, but anyway, that's Bob's song, and I love that song.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you for having me, Fifth.
Of course. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. Annie's music leaves me speechless every time. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. If you enjoyed this show, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review on iTunes, and please share with a friend. If you want to follow Annie Trezza on Instagram, you can find her at Annie Trezza. I know she has some shows coming up in the coming months. She has a EP out right now called Blue Suitcase No. 2. You can find that on all streaming platforms. And I really hope to share some music that her and I create with you all one day. And if you're interested in the offer that I made at the beginning of this podcast relating to the giveaway for a free limited edition vinyl of my debut album as a record producer, The Fifth Tape, all you need to do to enter is please leave a review on iTunes and DM us your email account at the Masters of Ceremony on Instagram. Thank you guys for tuning in so much, and I hope to see you next week. Peace.